A bizarre burglary with a creative disguise, but police say the suspect walked away empty-handed. We'll tell you why.
Teen in trouble, a hostage situation at a school, what all unfolded and what happens to the 14-year-old who police say held the class hostage.
Also, the governor calling for reviews of background policies for every school in the state after controversy at APS, what the new order from her office says. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to KRQE News 13 this morning. I'm Adam Atchison.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Krista Gutierrez. Today is Wednesday, August 26th. We'll get to those stories in just a bit, but how about a check on the forecast?
And right over to Kristen Curry. She's watching weather that we could maybe say looks a little similar to what we've seen recently.
Yeah, that's right, except better rain chances. I know a lot of us have been kind of missing out on these hit or miss storms and showers. You have a better shot today, but the temperatures pretty good, much what we had yesterday and the day before and the day before that. 49 in Alamosa, 57 in Taos, upper 60s here in the metro area. You'll find those 60s and 70s further off to the south as well. Doppler radar showing a band of rain to the southwest of the Duke City, likely to get hit with some light rain here within the next couple of hours, but it's not going to be much. And like I said, better rain chances on the way this afternoon. Details on whether you can expect rain in your area coming up.
And we start with news happening today. For the very first time, Superintendent Luis Valentino will sit down with KRQE News 13 for a one-on-one interview. One of the main questions we'll ask to explain how he let Jason Martinez, an accused child sexual predator, work at APS without a background check. This all happens right here on KRQE News 13 later on today. And that turns us to this morning. The now former and disgraced APS Deputy Superintendent Jason Martinez remains a wanted man in Colorado. Martinez quit his job with APS last week after reports surfaced showing Martinez is facing child sex assault charges. In addition to that, Martinez being hired without a background check. News 13 also learned he never filed a cover letter, resume, or even application for his job with APS because he was appointed by the superintendent. Now people who knew him in Colorado are speaking out.
He leads two lives. He's hiding in the open. Mr. Martinez is a very dangerous man. I believe that he will be dangerous to anybody he comes in contact with.
So the Denver DA's office says Martinez's attorney has been in contact with their prosecutors, but has not given any confirmation that he will turn himself in.
Also developing right now, Governor Susana Martinez is ordering a review of background check policies for every school district in the state. The governor says the Public Education Department and the Department of Public Safety will conduct those reviews at all 89 school districts. We asked the governor's office if they would also review the policies of state agencies that interact with children, and they are looking into getting us an answer on that.
And it's unclear this morning if and when APS Chief Financial Officer Don Moya will return to APS. But in a sit-down interview with KRQE, Moya spoke openly about the whistleblower lawsuit he filed against both the superintendent and the education secretary. He says he was not the one who leaked the text messages that he received from Luis Valentino to the public, but he says he's glad they're out there. He says the same about his run-in with Jason Martinez over an IT contract.
I was bringing to light a shady deal, concerns over a shady deal, and the next thing I know, I'm receiving those text messages from the superintendent, which he admitted were intended for Hannah Scandera to plan my demise.
Moya says he has not spoken to the district since he was suspended without pay.
We mentioned earlier that the superintendent will be speaking with KRQE, and that interview will be available online soon after it happens today. Find complete coverage, too, of this story, including background information on the KRQE News app. News 13 has learned that the APD officer who admitted to a federal crime and then lied about it won't be fired. In April, we told you about Officer Regina Sanchez. She used the federal criminal database to check on a woman who had a restraining order against the officer's boyfriend's brother. She gave that information to him, and he showed up to the woman's house, police say, with a handgun. News 13 has learned after an internal investigation found a violation of department policy. Sanchez was suspended for 40 hours. This is not the first time that she's been in the spotlight. In 2013, Sanchez was one of many extramarital lovers of former APD officer Levi Chavez, who testified when Chavez was put on trial for the murder of his wife. Chavez was acquitted.
We turn now to this developing story we told you about earlier this year. The state is now pushing back the timeline requiring food stamp recipients to get a job, work training, or complete community service. The requirements will be phased in starting in January. The Human Services Department delayed changes after critics voiced concerns over it. It would mean people who aren't disabled or caring for a child or family member would have to work. Similar rules were in place before the economy tanked back in 2009. This morning, it's likely most of you will buy a lottery scratch ticket, and adding to the uptick in sales, which is great news for the state's lottery scholarship. New Mexico Lottery has already raised more money than last year. Money raised for college students increased to more than $41 million, almost $1 million more than last year. Scratch ticket sales are up nearly 15% after its new ad campaigns. However, Powerball sales, they're down here and across the country. We turn now to this. New this morning, a prosecutor in West Virginia says he plans to file charges against a 14-year-old boy. That boy's accused of holding a class of 29 students, including a teacher, hostage at gunpoint yesterday. According to state police there, that student took a handgun into a second-floor classroom at Barber High in the town of Felipe. The school was then put on lockdown during this whole ordeal. After a few hours of negotiations, police say he finally surrendered without injuring anybody. It's unclear what his motive is, but classes continue this morning with counselors standing by for those students there. Also happening today, a Colorado judge is scheduled to formally sentence convicted movie theater shooter James Holmes. Holmes was found guilty of killing 12 people and injuring dozens more. Because the jury couldn't agree on the death penalty, Holmes will be sentenced to life without parole. However, he could be sentenced additionally to up to 3,318 years on attempted murder convictions. This morning, we're seeing new video that shows ISIS has destroyed a 2,000-year-old temple. It's just the latest example of the destruction and mayhem caused by the extremist group. The pictures show ISIS fighters rigging the temple with explosives before it's destroyed. Since driving Syrian regime forces out of that area in May, they've smashed statues, as you can see right here, and destroyed Christian churches and Shia shrines. Last week, ISIS beheaded an 82-year-old former Palmyra director of antiquities. The group has also used the city's Roman-era amphitheater as a backdrop to a mass execution of regime soldiers. This morning, police are still looking for a blue burglar. No, he wasn't depressed. Surveillance video shows he was covered in blue from his head to his toes, trying to steal some cash from a subway in Missouri. Police say while his disguise was clever, his execution was not. They say the only thing the suspect managed to do was leave a whole lot of damage. Suspect escaped without a penny in his pocket after he struggled with the safe. He gave up and disappeared. Donald Trump clashes with Univision anchor Jorge Ramos, and it's all caught on camera. Ramos rapid-fired questions at Trump during an Iowa news conference, and then things went downhill from there. Ramos, who's been trying in vain for several weeks to get an interview with Trump, asked questions without being called upon.
Sit down. Sit down. Go ahead. No, you don't. You haven't been called. Go back to Univision. Yes.
So after that, security escorted Ramos out of the room. He was let back in a short time later, and the two had a tense back and forth on immigration at that point. Yeah, and a lot of people are criticizing both ends of this debate. You know, saying Jorge Ramos spoke out of turn and that maybe Trump could have handled it a little differently, especially since he's running for president. Lots going on. Caught on camera, a truck takes a little too much off the top. Does this bridge look familiar to you? It should. How many times has this happened in the same place before? And students at one New Mexico college get an opportunity to showcase their city through art. How it's grabbing the attention of the community, too. And more viral videos. It's the most talked about story on our KRQE Facebook page this morning. Controversy looms over the video showing trucks holding up traffic on I-25. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to KRQE News 13 this morning. I'm Krista Gutierrez. And I'm Adam Atchison. It's Wednesday, August 26th. The day's top stories are straight ahead today. A lot of people are going to be thinking about the forecast as they get out the door. Absolutely. You know what I'm also thinking about? My allergies, Kristen Curry. What's happening?
Ugh, I hear ya, Crystal. I mean, literally, sagebrush is doing some work on my head right now. It's up to high, ragweed grass down to low. Gemma pods may bother you as well again today, but hopefully some rain will help that. You can see the showers just to the southwest of the Duke City. Those are headed our way, likely to see some light rain possibly even some sprinkles even here in the valley within the next hour. Now, the school day forecast does show better storm chances on the way this afternoon. High temperatures in those upper 80s, once again near seasonal for this time of year. But you'll notice the 3-day forecast continues with the rain chances tomorrow before we start to dry out heading into Friday and this weekend. Overnight lows in those mid-60s. So we'll talk more on those storm chances, show you a look at that full 7-day forecast coming up in about 10 minutes.
This morning, people are still chiming in on our KRQE Facebook page about this. Drivers doing donuts right in the middle of I-25.
And now more videos have surfaced. New Mexicans are talking about them. On Sunday afternoon, these trucks stopped traffic on northbound I-25 near Montgomery to do these donuts. In the new video, you can also see the trucks lined up across all lanes of the freeway. On Power radio station 106.7, one caller defended the people in the trucks, calling them friends.
It's not such a big deal. It's not.
It is an incredibly huge deal, sir.
On our Facebook post about this, the top comment with 266 likes reads, "Where's a speeding semi when you need one?" Another with 68 likes says, "Hell, live a little. Don't be so bored out. That's awesomeness. Sweet." No arrests have been made, but police are following leads, and one driver could face aggravated assault charges for pulling a gun on someone after doing the donuts. Police say one of those trucks, too, might also be stolen.
We turn out to this developing story. This morning, we're learning more about the suspect killed after a high-speed chase and shootout with officers in Santa Fe. Turns out he was wanted for another police shooting. A Sandoval County deputy tried to pull over this red truck for speeding Tuesday morning. Police say the driver was Marvin Maestas, and he took them on a high-speed chase that ended in Santa Fe. He finally stopped after hitting some stop sticks and jumped out, then ran. State police say he fired shots at officers. They fired back, killing him. Several agencies were involved in this, but state police still is not saying which agency actually shot him. Maestas was wanted for shooting at a Las Vegas police officer and trying to run him over earlier this month. Following up for you this morning, APT is awaiting an autopsy for the man found dead in the Rio Grande to determine how he died. His body was found Sunday north of the bridge on Central. Police say the body was badly decomposed.
It has been a year and there are still no leads after a UNM instructor says he was the target of a hate crime because he's gay. He says investigators looking into it messed up. The UNM College of Nursing teacher says somebody damaged the window of his office last September at this UNM building at University on I-40, marking it with male genitalia. But he says UNM police didn't take it seriously until this year. The openly gay faculty member says the police report was full of mistakes.
It actually took 6 months and me personally confronting the chief of police to get a correct police report and a competent interview by an excellent police officer.
UNM police says it did talk with the initial officer about this, and criminal damage or not, the department says it takes any report of a hate crime very seriously. Police do not have any suspects. The case is closed for now unless they get new leads. 5:34 now, we're learning more about the man accused of killing his father and leaving his mother in critical condition. 24-year-old James Finch is accused of breaking into their home on Grove Northeast this week and stabbing and beating his parents, 60-year-old David and 66-year-old Kathy Finch. David Finch died. Kathy's in critical condition. Police say the suspect had just been released from jail 4 days earlier. Court documents show that he beat up his dad in March. A restraining order was then filed when he broke into his parents' house just days after that, and he threatened his mother.
Move on to this developing story. This morning, an Albuquerque man is looking for the owner of a handmade cross that he found tossed in the trash. Brian Finney found the cross at a dump site near UNM South Campus. Finney says one look, he knew it belonged to someone. He thinks it may have come from one of the 3 cemeteries nearby. His best guess is vandals possibly stole it, then tossed it out.
I might be totally off the mark, but somebody went through some effort to make this, and we'd like them to have it back.
So Finney posted more information about the cross on Craigslist under Lost and Found. He says whoever wants to claim it needs to show him a picture of the cross.
5:36 right now. It started as a school project for local college students, and now those students' desire to showcase the artistic side of their New Mexico City is gaining the attention of their community. News 13's Catherine Mazzone is here with details on that. Catherine?
Good morning, Adam. 2 NMSU students pitched the idea in their public history class to document all of the city's murals.
We were hoping that it would elevate a sense of community and further distinguish Las Cruces as an art city.
From murals on water tanks, abandoned buildings, to even homes in Las Cruces, it's an enormous feat. At times, the group even had to ask the public for help, like who the artist was and when it was created. After snapping a photo of the larger-than-life artwork, they posted one a week on their Facebook page. So far, they found over 250 murals, but there are still more to go. One thing she noticed about the murals?
You don't see a lot of Chicano-style murals here in Las Cruces. You see more of a natural environment interpretation. So I feel like the local community is, they identify with the landscape.
The main goal behind the project, to let the world know that Las Cruces is an art community. They also worked with an NMSU conservation group to figure out how to restore some of those damaged murals. Back to you.
Thanks, Catherine. NMSU students say many of those murals are sun damaged and need work now so they can last for the next generation too. Developing right now, a UNM pediatrician is telling parents that there's no need to panic over a new strain of super lice. Researchers say in many states, the bugs are developing a resistance to treatments containing permethrin. There are also reports that lice in 4 states, including in New Mexico, have developed a partial resistance. Dr. Heather Pratt Chavez says applying over-the-counter treatments multiple times may do the trick.
Police in Atlanta are trying to find the mother of a baby left on the porch of a home. The nephew of the man who owns the home saw the baby, snapped this photo right here of her wrapped in a pink blanket. Nothing else, though. The man says the newborn still had the umbilical cord still attached and appeared to be only hours old. He called police, who are now concerned the mother could also be in a bad situation. Police say the baby girl, now known as baby Harlan, after the road where she was found, is healthy and doing well. That's the great news there. This morning, 7 people are facing charges after they were accused of running an online male prostitution ring in New York. Yesterday, the feds were seen carrying several boxes of evidence out of the home where they say the site Rent Boy was run. They say Rent Boy was a multi-million-dollar worldwide social networking site for the male sex industry where members pay fees to list and buy services. 50-year-old Jeffrey Hurrent says was accused of being the ringleader of the operation. It's not clear how many men were being used in the prostitution ring. The 7 charged with running it could face 5+ years in prison.
Now take a look at this video here. You may recognize it. State road crews in Massachusetts have to fix a bridge's height after this happened. Another truck driver misjudges a small overpass. The roof was ripped right off, not to mention most of the back of it. Nobody was hurt, but this isn't the first time this has happened at this bridge. According to the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, 16 trucks met a similar fate last year. Right there as it kind of goes underneath the, looks to be a railroad pass. Isn't that interesting?
So I wonder, is it the bridge that needs to be fixed or the drivers who need to be more aware?
I know you would think it would be high enough, though, to allow semi underneath. So in the end, damage to the bridge probably and the height. I'm sure they'll be addressing it. 5:39.